All right, a sleep protocol for you. All right, well, there's numerous things that you can look at. So let's go through a little checklist of things. First is alcohol consumption. If you enjoy wine, if you enjoy scotch or things of that nature, try a 1 week without, and look at your sleep. Look at your sleep patterns. Quite often, alcohol does interfere with deep sleep, so that's one possibility. Second one, of course, is caffeine. Caffeine consumption and being able to look at not having caffeine beyond 12 noon. Caffeine pushes your circadian rhythm, your natural biorhythm. Caffeine pushes it back about an hour to 2 hours. So if I would normally be sleepy by 10, and if I have coffee later on in the day, 10 o'clock might be 11 or 12, because caffeine has a tendency to push our natural biorhythm back. So I might be looking at caffeine. Caffeine only in the morning, but not in the afternoon or evening, or even try doing without it for a week. Again, it's just a matter of looking at particular things and testing and measure. It's kind of the scientific process. Test and measure, right? Try alcohol for a week. If that makes no difference, right, then try caffeine for a week. Try to reduce it. Either reduce it or eliminate it. So again, reducing it is not having it past lunchtime, past 12 noon, or eliminating it altogether. I've eliminated caffeine from my diet for months at a time. And it was hard in the beginning because I love the taste. I love the taste of my espresso in the morning. But I'm willing to experiment if I want a deeper night's sleep. So caffeine, alcohol, again, look at that and play around with those ideas. These are called blue blockers. And blue blockers actually are glasses. They're not an eyeglass, like they're not a prescription glass, but they do have a special lens in them. So at night, so at dusk, like at 5 p.m., I put these on, and what these blue blockers do is they eliminate the blue light that comes from our phones and comes from our computer screens. And so the blue light that we get from our electronic devices, from television, computers, and our telephones, that blue light stimulates the part of our brain, I think it's called the chiasmatic nucleus. And the chiasmatic nucleus is a light recepting part of our brain. And so by wearing blue blockers, and they're very inexpensive, I think they're like $20 on Amazon. By wearing blue blockers after dinner, we can eliminate that light, that artificial light coming in that wakes our brain up, and that pushes our sleep cycle back, right? So we want our brain to start getting used to the idea of dusk. So when the sun starts to go down, we keep the lights low in the house. We wear glasses like these to reduce the blue light coming in and waking our brain up. And again, that's something else you can look at. Food, and of course our food consumption. So making sure that we're eating within windows, very specific windows. For example, if you eat all your food within 10 hours and then do not eat for 14 hours, a 14-hour cycle, which puts you in a bit of a fasting state, that is another way of actually encouraging the body to go into deeper sleep. Now you can do some of these or all of these, but just find which one works better for you. So again, alcohol is known to actually interrupt sleep patterns, right? Caffeine is known to interrupt sleep patterns. So decide, right? So again, if caffeine, if you have it later in the day, have it only in the morning and before lunch, and then not have it later on in the day whatsoever, right? So caffeine, alcohol, blue blockers, and then eating within a 10-hour window, right? So all your calories within 10 hours, and then 14 hours, no food, just water and herbal teas, but no food whatsoever. No food, no caffeine, no alcohol, right? Nothing that will actually bring your liver back into to a digestive mode, because it wakes your whole metabolism up. And then aside from that, you had spoken about anxiety, right? The idea of having this feelings of anxiety. So like I mentioned in my message to you on Instagram, think of anxiety as as an ocean, right? And it's just a thing, right? So the ocean is accumulation of all of these droplets of water, but they're individual droplets of water that collectively make the ocean, make the wave. And anxiety sometimes is like that. Anxiety is just a wave, right? But it's made up of a bunch of little particles, a bunch of little particulates. And so the wave of emotion that we feel when it comes to anxiety isn't saying anything in particular. It's just a feeling. Underneath the feeling, there could be a very well story. So what's the story underneath the feeling? Right? So if I'm angry and I don't know why, I'm just overwhelmed with anger or grief or or sadness, I won't try to figure out what it is. I'll sit into the emotion and I'll write. And I'll take out my pen and I'll begin to write the words that come up, that kind of bubble up from the emotion. So if I'm angry and I'm not really sure why, and I'm very confused by my anger, I will dive into my anger like a swimmer dives into the pool, and I'll explore it and the words that come up, right? So I'll just begin to write crazy words, just whatever is being spawned from the emotion. I just keep writing and writing and writing until I peel off the top layer of language, and then I find some truth underneath. And sometimes anxiety can be that. So remember, emotions are not telling us anything. Emotions are just asking us, what do you think? This is a possibility. If I'm angry, then anger is saying, check in. You may be being compromised. Ask yourself, are you? If you feel fear, fear is not telling you to run away or really to be afraid. It's asking you to look around. So all emotions are just like a message in a bottle. So what's the message, right? And anxiety is not a thing. If it's a chemical imbalance, that's something completely different. But anxiety can be the summation of a bunch of feelings and ideas being washed ashore. And it washes ashore inside of our mind, inside of our heart, as a feeling of anxiety. But maybe there's a message in the bottle. So what could that message be for you? All right, that's it. That's all I got for you. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And as always, tremendous pleasure speaking with you. And thank you. It's been really quite nice.